My name is Jean Marie Herron. I'm a certified professional organizer and the business development manager for the Junk Luggers. My mission is to improve the quality of people's lives through the decluttering of their homes and offices in an eco-friendly and non-judgmental way. If you'd like to see more of these videos, simply click the subscribe button. So welcome everybody to this month's POSSE's Pen and Lugger Lunch and Learn. Hello. Today's topic is decluttering on a very large scale, and we're going to go from 12:30 to 1 o'clock. I'm just going to go through a little housekeeping. This pen is being recorded, and I'm going to ask you to stay on mute until we open it up to Q&A. And if for some reason you don't realize you're on mute, I might have Deborah put you on mute. So Deborah, my assistant, is here, and throughout the presentation, if you have questions, just type it into the chat box and she'll hang on to the questions. And at one point, she's also going to put a link in there relative to one of my slides. So keep an eye on the chat box. And we're going to go over large scale decluttering. And next month, we always do our presentations on the third Wednesday of each month. So on July 20th, we're going to talk about kitchen organization to keep you cool. So we're going to go through the presentation. We'll open it up to Q&A and ask the organizer, and then we'll close right around 1. And I think I forgot to introduce myself. So if there's anybody on this call who doesn't already know who I am, my name is Jean Marie Herron, and I am a professional organizer of about 17 years. I keep my organizing really small right now on the weekends, and Monday to Friday, I'm with the Junk Luggers as their business development manager. And I like to say it's the same thing I've been doing all these years, but on a much larger scale, helping more people and the planet simultaneously. So we're going to get started. And when I decided on the topic for this month, I thought, well, what is a very large decluttering job? And then that's, I came up with, it's probably different for each person. We're all individually unique and we all have different goals, but these are some of the main large decluttering jobs that I see in my line of work. Aging in place, moving. In a hoarding situation, it might simply be clearing the floors. It might be clearing out a storage unit, or it might be setting up a storage unit as your off-season clothing. It could be going paperless. It could be renovating your home so you can take on an aging parent. It might be dealing with photos and memorabilia. I know for many people that is very overwhelming, as well as organizing your vital documents. If you've been in a home for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and you've never really had a handle on paperwork, getting your vital documents in order could be a big headache. Following up on inheritance stuff, it is not at all uncommon for me to get a phone call from somebody who has lost, not only a loved one, but even 2 or 3 loved ones in a short period of time. And everything happened so fast that they kind of took on all of their loved one's stuff into their current home. Changing careers might be another one. But I want you to think of what is your very large decluttering goal. And when we open up to Q&A a little bit later, maybe we can talk about it and everybody can help each other with solutions. So, it's really important to understand your goals, because if you don't know what your goals are, we can't help you get there. So, so just something to percolate on. And I like to say that when you come up with a really large goal, that it starts in your head. And then if it really resonates with you and it pulls on your heartstrings, you're most likely going to get it done. And when it works for you in your head and it works for you in your heart, it comes out through your hands. So what that means, for example, here's a picture of me. I think some of you might have seen this video. This was a garage video I did last year. So the large job, if you will, is a garage clean out, right? Pretty simple. Well, what I mean by simple is it was very full. So my client wanted to clean out the garage, but the garage had been full for a really long time. I mean, years and years and years. And it was only when she wanted to get the garage organized for her grandchildren did that particular project come up to the front burner. So this is what I mean by, it might have been in her head for a long time. Oh my goodness, my garage is a mess. I should declutter my garage. But when it went to her heart, and she said, it's very important for me to have my grandchildren visit and be able to get, the bikes and the roller skates and the pool out safely. Once it pulled on her heartstrings, that's when she was able to say, you know what, I'm ready to make a plan. And once she made the plan, the physical action takes place. So that's what I mean by hands. So it kind of goes from your head. You got to have enough motivation to do it. And once those two are in order, you can actually get the work done. What's your plan, man? So you want to, I talked about going paperless, or maybe you're moving and in the next home, you're not going to have an office. So if you look at the office picture down on the left, and the goal is to go paperless, what's the big why? Why is it pulling on your heartstrings? Maybe you want to get things in order for your children, because maybe you have grown children and you're getting older and you want to make things easier for end of life. Doesn't matter what it is, but if you know what it is, it's going to be very helpful. If you look at the picture on the right, maybe this person's large project is just to get their grounds in order. Maybe they've got 5 acres of land and it's been a little overrun, and that's the project. So we always want to come up with a plan when you tackle any large scale decluttering job. And speaking of plans, I love lists. So what happens is when we make a plan, we now have extended memory, or I'd like you to have extended memory. And what I mean by extended memory is as you're developing your plan, whether you go digital, whether you're a paper and pen person, it's make a list. And you don't have to do something, very detailed like an Excel spreadsheet, but this is just an example. For many years in my organizing career, I had something called a MAP, which is a master action property plan, because I found as I was helping a lot of homeowners get their homes ready for property, or if they wanted to age in place, I would develop an Excel spreadsheet that listed every room, what the tasks were, who were going to do them, what the deadline was, and everybody would be assigned what it was they were going to do. And that was the plan. That was the project. So you want to come up with your own plan as well. And when you come up with your own plan, it's really, really important to block the dates on your calendar. So a plan should have a deadline. Hopefully, I encourage you all to have deadlines. So whatever you decide your large decluttering project is going to be, give yourself a plan, a goal, a deadline, and then work backwards. And as you work backwards, what I want you to do is time block. All right. So let's say you're a school teacher and you're just about to get out for summer break. And your goal this summer is to declutter your home because in September, you want your aging parents to move in. Now, you have the whole summer off per se. So maybe your goal is that by Labor Day, you have the rooms in your house that you want ready for your parents, completely decluttered, set up however it is. I don't know if you've got to paint walls, deal with plumbing or whatnot, but that would all go into your plan. It would all go onto your list. And then you would look at your calendar and you would work backwards from Labor Day, figuring out these are my goals, these are my tasks, when can I do them? And then when you decide, if not now, when, you're going to time block them. So you're going to take out your planner, you're going to take out your Google Calendar, you're going to take out your to-do list, whatever it is you use for time management tools for a calendar, you want to actually block out the time for this project. Because here's what happens when you time block your calendar. It gives you a visual framework for this goal. So using that teacher example with having her parents ready to move into her home in early September, we're talking 2.5 months approximately. When is this going to take place? Saturdays, Sundays, Monday to Friday, mornings, afternoons. So when you time block on your calendar, visually now you see the framework for this goal to come to fruition. It helps you build this particular project around your other priorities. So just because you have a decluttering goal in mind and you want your parents to move in doesn't mean the rest of your life is going to end. It's not. The rest of your life is still going to get going. But when you time block the project around all the other things that you have to do, you are now guaranteeing time for this particular project to happen. With the time blocking also protects your goal against other requests. So if you know you've time blocked every Saturday morning for the entire summer to help declutter for your parents, when your sister-in-law calls and says, hey, let's go down to Lavalette next Saturday, you now have a choice. You say, oh boy, I'd love to go to Lavalette next Saturday, but you know what? I time blocked decluttering because my big picture goal is mom and dad are coming after Labor Day. And now you have a choice. You can either keep it protected and say, no, that's my goal, I can't do it. Or you now have the visual framework to do what I call proper postponement. So you can say, you know what? I want that opportunity to go to Lavalette on Saturday. So Sunday morning, I'm going to change my time block. Sunday morning's when I'm going to, clear out the bathroom for mom and dad. So these bullets just give you some, good feedback as to why you should definitely block out the time on your calendar. Because then that calendar, it acts as a budget of time, right, to help you get to your goal. And it also acts as a closet. So if you were looking at a real closet with, shoes and skirts and ties and, scarves and tops, that would be the home for those clothing items, but your calendar is the home for your tasks. So really, really important to have the goal, work backwards, and time block. Once that's all on your calendar, now let's say this is the linen closet that you're going to give to mom and dad when they move in. So, and it's on your list and it's Saturday morning and you have to come in here and you've got to make choices and you've got to make decisions. And I like to say that this all leads action to traction. So once you actually, most people would be like, oh my God, just close the door. Shut the door. But it's Saturday morning and you know what your goal is, right? You know that if you don't walk into this closet and you don't start making decisions, that mom and dad are going to, they're going to come in on Labor Day and say, where do I put my towels and sheets? All right. So, maybe this isn't for mom and dad. Maybe your project is all of the closets in your house. The point is you have to start making choices and decisions. And once you do, it'll get a little easier. I promise this happens to us all. Once you initially go in and maybe you say to yourself when you open that door, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm just going to do pillows today. Just doing pillows. Or you walk in and you say, I'm just doing toiletries, or sleeping bags or whatever it is. But if you can just take a little tiny bite out and make a couple choices, it'll get the ball rolling. So with that concept in mind, I like to say that one box, one bay, that's a garage bay, one drawer a day keeps the stress away. So here's what happens in really large decluttering projects is we get overwhelmed and paralyzed. We all know that even if we have a plan, even if we have a goal, even if we have a list, we still feel the stress and anxiety because we are attached to these things for many, many psychological reasons. But if you can say, okay, one box, one drawer, maybe you look at your living room set and there's a little drawer in the coffee table, if you can just take little pieces, what you might find is as you're going through that one drawer, that one box, at the end of the box, you go, oh, you know what? That actually wasn't so bad. I think I can do a second box today, or I think I can do a second cabinet today, or maybe you look at the bay in the garage and you think, you know what? Today, I think I could do everything in the auto category. So chunking it down is really important. You have to think about where it's going to go. Are you going to sell the things that you don't want, which is very time consuming? Are you going to donate the things that you don't want, which is also time consuming? Are you going to give it away, family, friends? Is it going to be recycled? Is it going to go out on bulk night? So this is all things to think about when you're making your choices. Once I make the decision for it to go, where's it going to go? At our Hackensack warehouse at the Junk Luggers, we do humongous amounts of donating and decluttering. So I have trucks that come on a regular basis. And so when you're doing your large decluttering project, you might say to yourself, you know what, maybe I want to schedule the vets here each week, or breast cancer here each week. But in that master list, you're going to be thinking about, when it's time for donations, when it's time for selling, when it's time for junking, recycling. That's all going to be part of your list. So think about, where's it all going to go once you make the decision? So I am, oh, good. Half the time I presented, we have the other half the time for Q&A. So real quickly, next month on July 20th, we are doing kitchen organization to keep you cool. So we're going to go into the kitchen next month. And now I am going to stop sharing with all those tidbits, tricks, tips, strategies I just gave you for large decluttering, and open it up to your questions. Don't be shy. So I see William, Sal, and Carlene. Anybody have a question? And I see Carlene and Sal grinning. You guys are muted. And you, no pressure. You don't have to talk, but if you want to, just unmute yourself. You too, William, if you're listening. Go ahead, Carlene.
Hi. So, Jean Marie, we did our map. We had you come in and we did the map in April. And then of course I had another problem with my mom. So, but what I did recently, I'm glad I attended this today. I almost didn't, thinking, oh, I don't, that's a large scale decluttering, right? Never thinking, but what you meant by large scale, because there was the picture of you, I thought, oh, she means like large scale. But after this, I'm like, Carlene, this house is large scale decluttering. And one of the things I wanted to ask you was, so we had your map, we did your map, and we started at the front door and went like that. Well, this is, so about 2 weeks ago, we realized that I said to Anders, my husband, we have to prioritize right now. And like, we both got COVID. It was very frightening. Anders had it very badly. So I was like, we need to prioritize now. Take Jean Marie's map, but like rotate it or pick the 1 or 2 things that are the most important now. What do we need now? And what we came up with was the one of the dealing with the vital documents and all that, because we both realized that we have not been in sync. We don't have our plan if we were to die or whatever. So what I wanted to ask you is, I did what you said. I didn't realize I was doing it. So all these years, I must really have Jean Marie in my head, because what I did was I said to him, okay, we have now until September, because our goal in September is hopefully to finally go away somewhere, but have everything in place and feel comfortable. So then we said once a week, we picked the 4 top things that had to be done. We contacted the people where we started with 1. We've contacted him and already have set up meetings every week. So so I think we're on the right path. But let me tell you, and this is where I needed your advice. I think the hardest thing is we've shifted. So now we're not worried about our house. We're not worried. We prioritize the vital, important life and death situation. But it's very, very difficult to be in the house and have it still like this. So my question to you is, how do we keep the blinders on? Like, we did what you said, which is we're not doing this every day, but it does take up a lot of time, because we have to organize the files and get all this paperwork. So, but how do we then still walk around the house, that we started little projects in the house, and how do we keep the blinders and say, no, right now it's about this? How do you do that? How do you do it?
You used the right word. You said blinders. So if your goal is to get the vital documents in order, and that's going to take X amount of hours going through files, working with lawyers, et cetera, whatever it is if you want to see, a safe or a firebox in the house, and you want, a safe deposit box, or you want a trusted loved one, whatever your goals are for your vital documents, we know you guys are doing that. But what's happening is I think you're afraid you might do zigzag organizing or get really bothered by the other clutter in the home. You just have to keep remembering what your goal is and finish that goal first. So when I take on a whole home project, I never turn each room in the house upside down. We pick one room and we do it, the whole room, do a 360, and then we move on to the next room. Otherwise, what happens is the whole house becomes a little cluttered because you're working on the whole house at the same time. And for many people, that's really a visual distraction.
Yeah, it is.
So, that's what it sounds like might have happened.
Yeah,
That would
'cause we
be my
started-
suggestion. I don't know if the few things, I don't know how much time this would take you, but if you kind of wanted to put away those things that were an eyesore, I don't know how time consuming that is. That way you feel comfortable that the house is relatively decluttered while you're working on the paper project. I don't know.
Well, thank you for saying that, because that's what we also did. I said, okay, take one, like you just did today, take this one box on the desk in the basement and pick 1 hour a day and at least accomplish that box.
Yeah.
But the main goal is this other thing. See, we did zigzag. Like, we started on the decorating. We had the people come in. We got fabric. We got upholstery. Well, never did we realize just the upholstery, the fabric. And then it's not like you got to go travel to the fabric place. So then we had to say, forget that. We took everything, stuck it, I hate to say, in the attic, because now the goal has to be this. So the only thing we can do little by little is what you just said, is like, I have a calendar that I wanted to, calendars I've been keeping since like 1998. So maybe one a day, take the calendar, write it, you know what I mean? And throw it out.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Just pick a little project that could be making progress in the house, but not overwhelming?
Well, I hear that your main thrust right now is the vital documents, or are the vital documents. So I would say, if you can, leave the blinders on and not even look at the other stuff right now.
Okay.
Because here's what's really important. God forbid something happens to you or, Andres right now.
Yeah.
That paperwork needs to be in order. It doesn't really matter what the house looks like. I know it might bother you.
Right.
But the fact that there's fabric over here for the designer, and the fact that, the photos aren't in order or any of that stuff, that is something that can be done anytime.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the idea with the map is to go through it and decide when you want to do it. But this is a really, really important task, because again, if there ever is an emergency and this isn't done, it's going to cause tremendous stress. Whereas, clutter, it's not that important. It might be bothersome, but it's really not that important. What's really important are your relationships and getting, life circumstances down in case something happens. So I think you answered it yourself by, how I put the blinders on. But what I was saying is, if the rooms are really bothering you, like if there's something in each room that's a little topsy-turvy because you started a project and didn't finish it, if there's a way to kind of hide it for now, so that at least when you walk through the room, it's not bothering you.
Okay, so that's what we did. We took the fabrics and just moved it, and we'll just leave it there for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. We even made a little sign on the door that says life or death. Like, we're focusing on it has to be like a constant reminder. Otherwise,
I think that's what this pandemic has done. It's pretty much screamed to everybody, get your stuff in order, because nobody knows what's coming down the pike. So,
okay, thank you.
You're
welcome. Thank you, Jean Marie. Me neither. Thank you.
You're welcome. We have a couple more minutes. Sal, you want to talk? Oh, I see a raised hand. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, could you just talk, because I have worked with a professional in my basement, and it gets really good when the professional is here, and then as time goes on, it kind of starts to creep back to where it was. Could you just give an idea of how do you figure out how many hours it's going to take you? Like, it's great to start, say we want to have this done by September. We're thinking about planning a move like in 2 years. but 2 years is now 18 months because nothing's happened in the first 6 months. So how do you even just, what are your guidelines for saying, all right, is it square footage or just how much stuff you have, or how do you know how many hours it's going to take?
That's a great question. And I'm going to give you my best answer. But first, I'm going to go back to the comment you made about having the professional in the house, and then things kind of crept up or crept out of place. So one thing is, once your systems are in place and your homes are in place, you want to figure out for yourself what your daily maintenance is. So in other words, if you've got, paperwork systems or laundry systems, or, the whole family has a cleaning system, whatever it is, if everybody, whoever is responsible for each task, does their daily maintenance, weekly maintenance, etc., that's how things remain in balance. But if they go off balance, you have to revisit whose job is it, whose home is it, how's my system out of place, and put things back in place. So if you have a really large goal, and so that's like saying, that's like walking me into a very cluttered house and saying, Jean Marie, how long will it take me to declutter this house? My answer is always going to be, it depends on how quickly you or whoever owns this stuff can make decisions. But here's my helpful tip with that. What you can do is work on a project and time yourself. So for example, if you're in your basement in the seasonal decor area, or there's, like I know your basement, like you've got different sections, but there's that one section, which is what I call storage. And we all have this, right? It's got your seasonal decor. It might have backup paperwork. It might have inventory to certain things. If you go in there and you set a timer and you see how long it took you to clear X amount of space, X amount of shelving, X amount of bins, X amount of cabinets, now okay, it took Sal 3 hours to go through 10 bins. Now, the stuff is going to be different in every other part of the house, but what you were able to accomplish in those 3 hours. So now if you go up and you look at the kitchen cabinets, or you look at the garage, or you look at the attic, or you look at the master bedroom closet, and you try to compare the amount of decisions, like there's going to be X amount of decisions in a bin, X amount of decisions in a closet, X amount of decisions, when you open up below the kitchen sink, you now know approximately how long it takes you to make decisions based on square footage. And some of the square footage is going to be much easier than others. And some of the square footage isn't going to have a lot of clutter. That is the best way I can answer that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we have 3 more minutes. Anybody want to double dip or? So I am going to do kitchen. I haven't done anything on a kitchen in a very, very long time. And I thought about it because, truth be told, when I moved into this house here, we renovated the kitchen, and it was the first time I ever was able to pick out my own stuff, including appliances. And I bought what I thought was a great stove, and it is a great stove, but it's brutally hot. Like it's like almost like chef grade. And if I cook, the temperature of my house goes up 10 to 20 degrees. And it's really awful in the summertime. So that's how I came up with, kitchen organization to keep you cool. So I hope you'll all join me in July. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Well, thank you. If you know anybody that we do record these, so they're up on YouTube afterwards. If anybody else missed it, you want to listen to it or recommend or whatnot. And thanks for coming today. Remember, if you want to see more videos on my organizing, productivity, and decluttering topics, hit the subscribe button and you'll be alerted when the next one is ready.